Dee Dee, how are we doing on quorum?
Chair, we are at 10 o'clock and we do have quorum.
All right, thank you. So I will then call the March 13th, 2024 Elderly and Persons with Disabilities Ad Hoc Committee meeting to order. I'd like to remind members that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed, if you just saw. Please keep that in mind when making your comments. Also, our chat items are part of the public comment record. So as we begin the 2024 Section 5310 application process, now with 2 urban areas, I'd like to thank our committee members for our time, experience, and expertise for this evaluation process. So your participation time enables us to award all these funds to support human service transportation in the region. And as we continue to meet virtually, a roll call will be conducted for introduction and all action items. And with that, Dee Dee, could you please conduct the roll call?
Thank you, Chair. If you are present, could you say here? I will begin with Nina Arredondo, Pinal County. Nina, I believe she said she wasn't going to be able to make it. Carolyn Ballard, Town of Florence.
Here.
We do have Chair Dudley here. Vice Chair David Calloway.
Here.
Seth Dyson, City of Surprise. Seth Dyson. Joan Freeman, City of Scottsdale.
Good morning. Here.
Good morning. Nancy Jackson, City of Chandler.
Present.
Thank you. Wendy Miller, City of Phoenix.
Here.
Lindsay Post, City of Tempe.
Present.
Nathan Williams, Town of Gilbert.
Here.
Thank you. Philip Yabes, City of Buckeye.
Here.
Thank you. Tom Young, Valley Metro.
Here.
Thank you. We do have quorum.
Thanks, Dee Dee. Just want to
Thank
remind
you.
everybody when making a comment, please identify yourself when speaking. Right now, let's go on to our second item, which is call to the audience. An opportunity was provided to the public to provide written comments to the committee on items that are not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of MAG or on items on the agenda but not for action. Please note that on June 9, 2023, the process for written comments was updated. Comments must be received 2 hours prior to the posted meeting start time and will be provided to the committee in advance of the meeting. Dee Dee, have we received any comments?
Chair Dudley, we have not received any comments.
All right, no comments. Thank you, Dee Dee. So let's move on to item number 3, which is approval of the Elderly and Persons Transportation Ad Hoc Committee, January 10th, 2024 meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, are there any changes to the minutes? All right. Hearing none. Dee Dee, have we received any comments from the public on this item?
Chair Dudley, we have not.
All right. I would then like to call for a motion to approve the January 10th, 2024 minutes.
This is Lindsay Post. I move to approve the minutes from January 10th.
All right. We got a first from Lindsay. Can I have a second?
Nancy Jackson, I'll second.
All right. Nancy Jackson from Chandler is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dee Dee, will you do a roll call? Please respond yay or nay.
Okay. Nina Arredondo. Okay. Carolyn Ballard.
Yay.
David Calloway.
Yay.
Chair Dudley.
Yay.
Seth Dyson. Joan Freeman,
Yay.
Nancy Jackson seconded the motion. Wendy Miller,
Yay.
Lizzie Pose did the motion. Nathan Williams,
Yay.
Philip Yabis,
Yay.
Tom Young.
I'm gonna abstain because I was not at the meeting.
Chair Deli, the motion passes.
All right, motion passes. So let's move on to agenda item number 4. The next item is an opportunity for our members to hear about Human Services Transportation Regional Coordination activities related to the program. Dee Dee, please provide the report.
Thank you, Chair, and members of the committee. One of our biggest news is that, if you have not heard already, is we unfortunately will be minus one of our staff for the next meeting, and that is Hezekias. He is taking another position, and we wish him well. He has done such great things with our program. He has been a great leader for coordination efforts and mobility management, and I will report on a couple of updates. You will see the outcome of those efforts. We do want to wish Ezekias well and accompanying Nancy at the City of Chandler, but we definitely will want to say a big thank you for the support you've given this program. So if you have not heard, Ezekias will be leaving us at MAG to go in another career path. So thank you, Ezekias.
Thank you, Didi.
Okay. Other updates is that I had a meeting yesterday with Embark Transit Agency in Oklahoma and Oklahoma DOT to discuss our Section 5310 application process. Embark will be taking on the DR role in Oklahoma City, being supported by the DOT. And they've heard about our process, and I've given them the materials regarding our application, our handbook, and kind of how our committee is set up in the evaluation process. I will have another meeting with them after they digest all of the information that we provided them, and will follow up and help support them in any way that we can. But that's just a testament to the great work the committee has done with our committee process and the great partnership we've had with the City of Phoenix in taking on this role regionally and doing the Section 5310 program. So the great work is being recognized by the committee and the City of Phoenix. So thank you so much for that. Also, another update is next week, I will presenting at the National Center of Mobility Management regarding our coordination efforts. And again, thank you, Ezekias, for laying the foundation for this. I will be presenting on how we do our coordination activities for the Section 5310 programs with other mobility managers nationwide, and most importantly, highlighting our Transportation Ambassador Program. Has our coordination meeting and providing detail and the strategies that have come out of that program. Also, I would like to say that in June, and this will be our third time presenting at the Community Transportation Association of America. I will be presenting on our sub-regional mobility managers, talking about the specifics of how we develop the coordination efforts with it, how the sub-regional mobility managers were a strategy in our coordination plan, and just walking through how we utilize our sub-regional mobility managers. I thank the committee again and the City of Phoenix for their support for utilizing the sub-regional mobility managers and providing that funding support, on behalf of the region to further our coordination efforts. So thank you so much. And at the last meeting, we noted our de-escalation training, which Ezekias takes the lead on. with our sub-regional mobility managers was recognized by FTA. And I am happy to say that it is finally up. It was finally noted in their weekly digest from FTA that our de-escalation workshop is now in their national resource directory. So I would like to take a moment and say our appreciation to our sub-regional mobility managers for taking the lead on our workshops and trainings, and for Ezekias for taking the lead in supporting them in this effort. So I'm just happy to say that hopefully we will find somebody that will continue this effort. But thank you to the committee for your support and the City of Phoenix. That concludes my updates. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Dee Dee? All right. Well, thank you, Dee Dee. Looks like they're keeping you quite busy. Have fun in muggy Florida, by the way. And Hezekias, congratulations. You're going to be going over and working with a great team over there in Chandler. So with that, we're going to move over to agenda item number 5, which is the City of Tempe Alternative Section 5310 Transportation Program. So I'd like to welcome Lindsay Post, City of Tempe. She will provide an overview of this City of Tempe's grant program modeled after the Section 5310 program. So with that, I will hand it off to Lindsay. I think we have a PowerPoint presentation, right, Dee Dee, or not?
I did not provide one,
not?
so unless Dee Dee magically made one for me.
No, Dee Dee, you know, you're good, but I don't know if you're that good. So with that, Lindsay, I'll just turn it over to you then.
Thanks a lot, Chairman Dudley. My name is Lindsay Post. I'm a senior transportation planner with the City of Tempe. As you may have heard, the city does have a program that has modeled itself after the FTA 5310 program. After this year, we will very likely change that name just because, as you all know, 5310 is a number of the code in the Federal Register, and that's why it's named that. So it's not so sensical to have Tempe name its program that as well, considering we do not use FTA dollars for our 5310 program. Our dollars come from as a set aside through our city council, and it is through using our local dollars only. As you may know, Tempe is, I think we're one of the only cities, if not the only city in the Valley, who has our own transit tax set aside. So that helps provide this funding. We only provide a $50,000 outlay every year for agencies in Tempe who are human services agencies to provide transportation. And so we provide operating and capital funding for those who need it. This year we had 5 applicants. They were TCAA, which I think you're familiar with, the Foundation for Senior Living, the Valley Center of the Deaf, the Centers for Habilitation, and Civitan. Several of those have often been in the MAG and Phoenix 5310 program, so you're probably familiar. 2 of those applications had to be dropped out. The TCH, Centers for Habilitation, was deemed non-responsive just because a great deal of the application was not filled out by them. And then Civitan, while they were successful initially, when it went through our legal department, it was clear that not a majority of what we would be funding would serve Tempe. So we have to be careful to make sure that our dollars aren't being spent mostly outside of our city. So for that reason, we have awarded to TCAA, the Foundation of Senior Living, and the Valley Center of the Deaf. TCAA got $15,000 for operating their neighbor-to-neighbor service. As you may know, they are an integral partner in Tempe. They are a health and human service organization that provides a plethora of services to those who need it. The Foundation of Senior Living got $10,000 in operating dollars. And the Valley Center of the Deaf, which transports medically fragile and disabled seniors and residents of the Apache ASL Trails, which is a low-income senior disabled housing facility. And it also transports deaf and blind people who are deaf and blind or blind to appointments. They got $25,000 this year for a vehicle. As you may know, that might supply half of a vehicle, but nevertheless, we were happy to be able to provide that for them. So this happens every year. We were, I believe, because of staffing shortages at Tempe, we were a lot later this year than we normally are. So I will actually be taking over this program on behalf of the city for the next iteration. So I have already made the started the process to change the name. It'll probably be something like Tempe Human Service Funding, Transportation Funding, something like that. So I do anticipate making the process a lot simpler. I noticed that applications from our 5 agencies came in at over 100 pages for as little as $50,000. And, you know, they might be able to just make that with a bake sale on a weekend. So I want to make this process easy and painless as possible because we have a lot more discretion than we would if we were using federal $5310. So that is my report for this year. I look forward to maybe engaging this group for any tips and tricks for the next iteration. But Chairman Dudley, that's it for me for today. I do welcome any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Any questions from the committee? All right, here now, Lindsay, I do appreciate that, and definitely, I think MAG resources can definitely help you, especially as you're looking at the application. Heck, I think we would love to look at your application too, and maybe there's something that we're potentially missing on ours that we can kind of look and see if there's some greater synergy on there that would help answer some of the questions maybe that we have. But
yeah, that would be very helpful. Thank you for that.
All right.
Hey,
Any
Chairman
questions?
Dudley?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Nancy with the City of
Right.
Chandler.
All right,
Just
Nancy.
one quick question. Lindsay, how long has this program been in place? I'm sorry if I missed that.
You didn't miss it. It's been in place, I want to say, for the last 10 years. It was Robert Yabes had been doing it. It's I can do a little bit of research for us, but I would say, after our transit tax became a thing, and we realized we had these funds for it. So certainly, for the past several years, under the helm of Robert Yabes. So, yeah, thanks for the question. That makes me realize that I should probably do a little bit more research on our history.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. Lindsay, I was friends with Robert. He was actually my first boss in transit. And I remember for several years, because there wasn't that many applications that would come in through the Tempe program, he would reach out and ask any committee members who needed to help kind of score anybody who had kind of knowledge in 5310. So yeah, feel free to reach out to Dee Dee. I bet you can probably get a few people to help evaluate it if you're looking for evaluators.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. All right. Any other questions?
Chair Dudley, I do have a comment.
Okay.
Yes, Robert did. He was had great foresight and really believed in utilizing all assets. And actually, he did ask MAG to participate in some of the review process, and I would say that was about 10 years or more. I don't want to say more. Since I was only in grade school. No. But yes, it was a great process, and it was kind of modeled off after our process. So we are definitely able and we are willing to support you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Lindsay? All right. Thank you, Lindsay. All right. We are now going to move to agenda item number 6, which is the overview of the Federal Transit Administration Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Program for both the Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale urbanized area and the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale urbanized areas. As we have a couple of members new to this process and a refresher for the rest of us, Dee Dee will provide an overview of the program. Dee Dee, go ahead, because I know you're going to include the outcome of the MAG and the City of Phoenix 2-week internal review cycle for the record number of applicants that we had this year.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Before I begin, I would just like to note that Seth Dyson from the City of Surprise did join us, but we do have a Zoom user in our queue. Could they identify themselves?
I'm sorry, it's me, Eleanor Perez with the City of Phoenix. I'm just having some computer problems, so I had to go through my phone.
Okay, thank you, Eleanor.
Hi,
No
Eleanor.
problem. Hi.
And for your information, Eleanor Perez is from the City of Phoenix. Okay, thank you. Next slide. Just a review, this program provides capital and operating expenses for recipients for public transportation projects planned, designed, and carried out to meet the need, the special needs of seniors and individuals with disability when public transportation is insufficient, inappropriate, or unavailable. And for public transportation projects that exceed the requirements of ADA, improved access to fixed route service, and for alternative public transportation projects that assist older adults and individuals with transportation. Next slide. Eligible applicants are private nonprofit organizations, public agency where no viable private nonprofit organization is available, and tribal governments. The population of agencies serving older adults age 65 and over, and agencies serving persons with disability. Next slide. I just wanted to review the ADA application process. They are on a 2-year application process. This year, they are open their application process for those statewide regional mobility managers who submit their application and to renew their program. Applications were due on March the 5th. Next year, and that will be a 2-year process. And next year, they will open up their competitive application process for capital and operating, which will also be a 2-year process. Next slide. For this year, we are happy to say that at the last meeting, the committee did approve to include in our region, we now have 2 urban areas. And the committee approved to do an evaluation process for these 2 new areas, which is the Phoenix Mesa urban area, which we affectionately call PMS, and the West Phoenix Goodyear Avondale, which is the PWGA. We all would not be in transportation if we did not have acronyms for everything that we do. Next slide. So for this application process, applications are due on January the 26th. We did have a sub-region mobility managers question and answer workshop on January 19th. This was revised from the previous year. The discussion was that they wanted to provide the question and answer before the application due date. This would give applicants the opportunity to ask questions to make sure that the application process 5310 was something that they were fully aware of all the requirements and compliancy, and that they would we're sure that they would want to apply. The previous year, we did have some new applicants come in and just they didn't submit their application at the last minute. Normally, we do, if we note that there is an applicant who is going to submit an application when the deadline comes really close and we haven't received the application, we do a gentle reach out to ensure that if they had any questions or they need any support. And at that time, we did have some applicants or potential applicants say they just didn't want, they weren't sure of submitting an application. So our subdivision mobility managers thought that if they had their workshop prior to the application deadline, that this would give those new applicants more opportunity to ask any questions regarding the application. MAG and the City of Phoenix did have a proposal assistant workshop on January the 30th. And applications are due. Then MAG and the City of Phoenix did conduct technical assistance, and this was one-on-one technical support for those potential applicants to ask any questions, to review if their request was eligible. This is a half an hour time that we provide, and it is a requirement for new applicants to attend technical assistance. Again, applications were due on February the 26th. As Chair Dudley had noted, MAG and the City of Phoenix, once the applications were due, conducted a 2-week internal review of all the applications from February 26th to March the 11th. Next slide. MAG has a programming agency in the City of Phoenix as a designated recipient, did conduct a 2-week internal review. We reviewed on application completeness, meeting federal eligibility and regional criteria. MAG staff contacted applicants for clarification only on items submitted on the application itself. We did have 5 new agencies applying this year. They are Circle the City of El Mirage, Duet. We are happy that Duet, they have been a longtime partner in all of our coordination activities, but not had applied for Section 5310 until now, and Fellowship Square and Glencroft. Next slide. City Phoenix and MAG staff met and reviewed our internal review results. And during this time, we did note that there was 2 project requests with eligibility concerns. One was a new agency, Glencroft, for their vehicle request. They did not submit a complete application. And it is noted in the handbook that applications will not move forward that are not incomplete. The other request was Gomper's equipment request. During our internal review, we did determine that their 2 equipment requests on the application were ineligible. Again, I would like to note that both of these agencies did not attend the one-on-one technical review, which again, we do review the compliancy, the federal requirements, and at that time, agencies are able to ask questions regarding their requests on the application. Are there any questions regarding that?
Any questions, anyone?
Is El Mirage one of the new cities that's become part of the process?
Yes, El Mirage is a new applicant for Section 5310.
Dee Dee, did you already mention this? Gompers, though, has put in other requests. So
yes,
if anyone sees another Gompers one, there was several requests from Gompers, so they are eligible.
Definitely. It is only the Gompers equipment request. Okay, so upon this, during our internal review, the consensus was that Glencroft and Gompers applications do not move forward through the evaluation process. Okay, next slide. So the remaining applications have responded to staff requests for clarification information. Project requests meet federal eligibility and regional criteria threshold. Applications that will be forwarded to you later are complete with required supplemental materials. Phoenix has been reviewing funding balances on past Phoenix reviewed funding balances on past contracts, and MAG reviewed the coordination participation efforts and provided those preliminary points on the spreadsheet that we will review later on. So again, we are recommending or suggesting that the remaining applications minus the Glencroft and the Gompers due to ineligibility move forward through the evaluation process. Of those remaining applications, I just want to provide an overview of the agencies that we have for the Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale area. We have 27 agencies with 40 projects. I believe last year we had 25 agencies with 39 projects. 37. We have 9 vehicle requests for 26 vehicles, 14 preventive maintenance requests, 1 equipment request, 4 mobility manager positions, and 12 operating project requests for a total of estimated total of 5.116 million in federal requests, minus the 10% administrative cost. We are estimating, we receive notification only on partial apportionments. And I would like to thank the City of Phoenix with their math-eating ability. They did estimate funding apportionments to be approximately about 5.9. Next slide. For the PWGA area, we received there were 6 agencies applying with 7 project requests. We have 2 vehicle requests for 6 vehicles, 1 preventive maintenance request, no equipment or mobility manager request, 4 operating requests for approximately 1.2 million in total federal request, minus the 10% administrative cost. We anticipate or estimate federal apportionments to be about 493,000. This is far under the estimated funding apportionment that we had noted previously. This comes up, we had noted approximately about 1.2 with the partial funding apportionments that did come out, and with the City of Phoenix doing their wonderful calculations, we do estimate federal apportionments to just be under 500,000.
Dee Dee, you mentioned the federal partial apportionments. These numbers that both of those would take into consideration when we get the full apportionments, correct? So that 493,787 is what the full apportionment would be once we get that in there. And the same thing with the 5.9 for the larger area. So once we're fully apportioned, those would be the numbers we're going to be kind of drawn down from.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Yes, the 493 is taking into consideration the full estimated funding apportionments, and the 5.9 is in consideration of the full funding apportionments.
And we should have those full apportionments by the time this gets done, right? How does that work?
We have worked under not receiving apportionments. We had anticipated to have full funding apportionment. There have been instances where we did receive full funding apportionment. It is up to legislation when they approve the final transportation apportionments. We anticipate and we would hope that we do receive full funding apportionments, but the task for this committee is to develop the priority listing that will determine when we do receive full funding apportionments, that the City of Phoenix will draw down those funding apportionments.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I hope that helped. I know that's kind of a hazy answer. We just hope whenever Congress approves of full funding apportionments, we hope to have it before the end during our process.
Okay. So we'll be evaluating using the full apportionment numbers and let the federal government do as what the federal government does. All right.
Yes, Chair Dudley, Dee Dee, members of the committee, this is Wendy Miller. Just to add to that, the partial apportionments that were released were for 5 months worth of funding, so just under half. So that's how we determined the estimated calculation for a full year worth of funding. We're under a continuing resolution for that 5 months of funding, and until Congress makes that decision, it's not going to happen. The other part that I wanted to let everyone know is that we do have funding left over from last year. For those of you that were on the committee last year and recall, we did not award all of the funding. There was not enough projects to fill all of there was there was more funding than project requests. And then we also have a little bit of rollover funding from project savings. So again, for the Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale urban area, we have less funding requests than the amount available. And I believe it's going to be about $1 million more than than the apportionment. So we do have quite a bit of funding in the Phoenix, Mesa Scottsdale region, and then the West Phoenix. Obviously, this is the first year of that funding being available specifically for that region. So we don't have any rollover from that.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, Dee Dee, could you continue? Dee Dee, are you on mute? There you go.
Thank you, Chair. This item is for action. It is for approval of the 2024 Section 5310 PXMS and PWJ urban areas applications that meet federal eligibility and regional criteria to move forward for the evaluation process.
Okay.
This concludes my my presentation.
All right. Dee Dee, have we received any comments from the public on this particular item?
Chair, members of the committee, we have not.
Okay. All right. Being that this item is for approval, is there any discussion from the committee? All right. I am not hearing anything. Okay, so if there are no comments, no other further recommendations. So based on the internal review from MAG as the programming agency and the City of Phoenix as our designated recipient, the committee will recommend the following agencies not to move forward for evaluation. That will include the Glencroft vehicle request due to being incomplete, and the Gompers equipment request due to being an ineligible request. So with that, I would like to call on a motion to approve the remaining 2024 Section 5310 Phoenix Mesa UZA applications and the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale applications that are meeting the federal eligibility and the regional criteria threshold to move forward in the evaluation process for this year.
Tom Young, I'll make the motion.
All right, we got a motion from Tom. Do I have a second?
Joan
Nina
Freeman.
Elizondo, second.
Let Mag sort that out. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Dee Dee, please do a roll call. Please respond yay or nay.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Carolyn Ballard.
Yay.
Vice Chair Calloway.
Yay.
Chair Dudley.
Yay.
Seth Dyson.
Yay.
I believe Joan Freeman seconded the motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nancy Jackson.
Yay.
Wendy Miller.
Yay.
Lindsay Post.
Yay.
Nathan Williams.
Yay.
Philip Yabes.
Yay.
Thank you. And Tom Young made the motion. It was unanimous, Chair.
All right, thank you, Dee Dee. All right, thank you, everyone. So we're going to move on to item number 7, which is an information and discussion item and review of the 2024 5310 application process and timeline for both the urban areas. Just want to make sure that I'd like to thank the new and our continuing committee members for all our time, effort, and dedication on this evaluation process. All our efforts ensure that we have a regional focus in developing the priority listing that will be forward to Phoenix as the DR to develop the consolidated application on behalf of the region to forward to the FTA. So Dee Dee, you will now provide the review of the evaluation process and the timeline for both of these areas.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Next slide. For the section 5310 2024 evaluation process, we do hope that the guidelines do include having a fair and objective review of the applications. We know during this process, for this process, we may have members of the committee being part of the evaluation process, submitting applications. So, or know of the agencies. We just request that you have a fair and objective review of the applications to follow the evaluation criteria that we will review later on, and to review only submitted materials that have provided to you. All applications will have the opportunity for an interview, and actually this is a requirement for all applicants to participate in the evaluation, the interview process. The interview process will be a 15-minute intervals of agencies that have submitted an application to come in, and an opportunity for the committee to ask any questions. Next slide. I just wanted to review the timeline. We are meeting today. We have approved the applications to move forward to the evaluation process. At this time, the committee will receive all of the application materials that we'll review for you. On April 8th, we do provide the committee an opportunity to ask any additional questions to the applicants. Please ensure that your questions are only based on the materials that we received and on the application itself. On April 15th, the committee will receive the applicant's response. At this time, you can take the response into consideration when you develop your preliminary scores. That will be due on April the 18th. We will be reaching out to those agencies to ensure that we do get your preliminary scores. When we do receive your preliminary scores, this won't include the 15 points for the applicant interviews that will come in at the time that we do the interviews. So, and that will take place on April 23rd and 24th. At the end of the interviews, the committee will develop the priority listing. In the past, and we will follow the same procedure, we will normally have all of those capital requests on April the 23rd, and then we will interview those requests for operating, and after all of those are complete, we will meet again and develop the priority listing and provide the results of the ranking scores. Next slide. Again, all applicants are required to participate in the interview process. Applicants will take place on the 23rd and 24th with 15-minute interviews. We will provide the applicants information prior to the interview, giving them some instructions on how to present to the committee. We give them a timeline of, a very brief overview of the project request. We know you have reviewed the application, and we would like them to also express the need for the project. And then we will let them know that the additional time, the committee will ask any additional questions regarding their application. MAC staff will contact the applicants to schedule the interview times. Next slide. Again, as I said, 15 points. First day is traditional and mobility management projects. Second day, operating. And then also on the second day, we will develop, the committee the committee will develop the priority listing of projects. Agencies with multiple requests will be combined, and we do have a standard question regarding if an agency were not awarded, what would that effect be? We would also like to suggest that we include an additional question for agencies that have multiple requests, asking for their preference for the projects, just in case there is not enough funding. Are there any questions on that? Okay. And again, committees will have an opportunity to ask any additional questions during that time. And next slide. Evaluation process. Just to provide a brief overview, a conflict of interest would occur when members of affiliated agencies submit an application where the agency is the sole beneficiary with a financial interest or part of a consolidated application with designated agencies. The member will recuse themselves from evaluating the applications and refrain from participating in the applicant interview while a sitting member of the committee. It is important to note an agency's participation in project requests that are not regionally beneficial is not a conflict of interest. And we will have additional information on the statement of confidentiality disclosure that will be handed out. Next slide. MAC staff will add in committee interview scores into the preliminary scoring. The priority listing of project requests will be developed based on the evaluation scores and the apportionment funding. Project requests denied based on not meeting point threshold or lack of funding are given an opportunity to solicit feedback from the MAG staff. And just for review, the committee threshold, the committee has set a 70 points threshold for evaluation points that agencies will score on their application. Those falling under 70 points would not move forward. The priority listing will move through the MAG committee process for final approval by regional council. Next slide. So the MAG EPTT committee members here today are the technical committee for this evaluation process. Once you develop the priority listing to move a priority listing of projects that will move forward through the MAG committee process, which means it will go through the MAG Human Services Community Initiatives Committee, which is made up of elected officials with the vested interests and human services issues. Next, it will go through the MAG Management Committee, which is all of our member agencies, town managers and their representatives to recommend approval of the priority listing of projects. And then next, it will move forward to the MAG Regional Council, which is made up of all elected officials, cities and town mayors, and their designated representatives to recommend approval of the Section 5310 priority listing to move forward to the City of Phoenix to develop the consolidated application to move forward to ADOT, and where they will draw down the apportionments for both the Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale and the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale areas. Are there any questions regarding the committee process? Once the City of Phoenix does develop the consolidated application, it will move forward to FTA. Contracts will come out in October. This is a very lengthy process, but it ensures that we do get regional buy-in and support for this program. We anticipate projects at the contracts to come out in October with hopefully Chair Detley full apportionments noted. And then at that time, the procurement process for vehicles will take place. And in total for vehicles, it is about an 18-month process. Okay, next slide. We do have some new and returning or fairly new members. the chair and vice chair did provide some tips on the evaluation of the applications. They note to review the evaluation rubric. We do provide that guidance, and we will go over the rubric with you. MAG and the Phoenix have included the review points, and it is included in your scoring sheet. So those points regarding budgeting and coordination participation, it's a City of Phoenix and MAG do oversight on that. We provide those points for you. We are still developing the summary sheets for easy for a synthesized information of an application. We should get that to you by the end of the week. And it's helpful to write down questions while you're reviewing the application. And overall, everybody has their own method for reviewing. And not, there isn't a standard way of reviewing the applications. Chair, Vice Chair, do you have any additional tips or comments?
Yeah, thanks, Dee Dee. Yeah, I mean, what are we looking? We're looking at 40 some applications. So, and honestly, you look from today because we have to have everything in by Thursday, April 18th. So that's a little more than a month away. So I've been on this committee for 20 years. So I've done every reviewing method possible, from I'm waiting to the last weekend to spacing it out to do a few per week. But I think doing a few per week is actually probably the best method to do that. So that way you're not rushing at the end. In this case, we'd have to do about 12, 24, about a dozen a week, which again it's kind of a lot. So I think that would probably be the best method. Look at these, go through them, do about a dozen per week, and then that way you can get through it all in 4 weeks, and you're not rushing, almost 50 applications there at the last week. But yeah, that's my philosophy for this year.
Chair Dudley, we do have a question from Lindsay Post.
Yeah, go ahead, Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Dee Dee. It wasn't a question so much as just some experience that I have. I always am the one who sort of overthinks these things, gets too much in my head, and thinks that I'm doing it the wrong way. And every time that's happened, or every time I've scored, it sort of normalizes by the end. And those differences in how we score things is important. And then when we come together in the end to discuss and sort of bring our scores, I think that's what you do, Dee Dee, like we did at ADOT, sort of true up our scores together. It's easy to think that you're being too kind or too mean, but I think the better thing is just consistency across the board and not overthinking it.
Good point. Good point, Lindsay. And usually what I'll break mine down to is I'll do a vehicle request, and then I'll break it down into operating requests, so it can kind of be in that mindset of vehicles versus operating request, and that usually helps. All right, any other comments? All right.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Next slide. The evaluation criteria, the rubric, is noted in the handbook. We also reviewed it during our proposal workshop, and is broken out during sections. As you can see in the red are the points that MAG or the City of Phoenix have provided for on behalf on the scoring sheets. It is broken out, and as you can see at the bottom, the applicant interview and presentations are worth 15 points. Next slide. And I just wanted to show just an example from the rubric where we have section 3, agency experience and capabilities. That that corresponds to where it is in the application itself. So as you can see at the bottom, the tabs are numbered and it is titled. So we try to make it as easy as possible. We understand you have 47 applications to review. We are trying to We try to develop our tools for your evaluation as simple as possible. This has been a process that the committee has refined through all these years. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Max staff. Next slide. So the next portion, we will review the committee application packet, the coordination participation matrix, the service area maps, and the confidentiality form that are in your packets. I would now like to hand this over to Ezekias to review the packet information.
Thank you, Didi, Chair and members of the committee. I am going to share a new screen in here so I can show you what you will be looking at. First, I want to show you that different from last year, when I was sending you the documents for the access of the folders for the application this year, this email will come from Mimi and it should look like something like this. Either already giving you access where you can just click on that link and open the folder where you have access to all of the committee evaluation materials and the applications, or it will have a link asking you to verify your email, and then you will receive a secondary email with the link to access the documentation. So just keep in mind that if you receive an email like this from Mimi saying that she has shared a folder and documents with you, not to be alarmed that that email is coming from Mimi and it's related to the application documents. Now I'm going to show you how the Give me just a second because I'm trying to go through my tabs since I have a lot of them. All right. Now I am going to share. This is once you get access to the folder, this is what the folder should look like. Mimi already shared it with me and Didi, so this is the access we have to that OneDrive folder that contains all of the materials that you will be using for the evaluation of the Section 5310 application. As Didi mentioned, I'm going to start here at the bottom of this list with the confidentiality agreements. As Didi mentioned, you need to fill out this confidentiality agreement based on the list of applications that you'll be evaluating. If any of them fit the criteria for a conflict of interest, you will be filling out this part in here and putting which applications you may have a conflict with, the name of the applicant and the title of the project. This is also something that you will fill out even if you don't have a conflict. You will fill out the rest of the document, just not put the conflict sign and send it to us. In this case, you will be sending it to Mimi and Didi, since they will be the ones reviewing and receiving and documenting your application evaluation. So this document has been uploaded to that folder both in a Word document and a PDF file for ease of use of you, because you might want to fill out the document in Word, then print and sign, or if you find it easier to do it through a PDF format, you also have that available. So we have both options available. Both of these documents are the same documents, just in different file formats.
And a pro tip, everyone. So if you don't know or you don't think, reach out to Didi or Mimi if you think you may have a conflict of interest. That way you don't necessarily have to go and review an application and then say, oh, hey, at the end, maybe I did have a conflict of for it. Just reach out to Didi. She'll be able to walk you through and say yes or no, you do not have a conflict on it. It'll save you some time.
Thank you, Chair, for that note. Moving on, I'm going to show you now where the applicant materials that they have submitted for the application are located. This year, since it's the first time we have two pots of funding and two regions that are where applicants can apply from, we have two different folders based on those regions. So we have both a PWGA and a PXMS folder. In the past, we only had one. So if you're familiar with only having one, remember that this time we have two. If you cannot find one of the files that you were looking for to evaluate, they might be in a different folder. So they both should look very similar. They will have the name or the acronym of the applicant and the type of application that those files will be related to. Since some of the applicants, as we can see in here, have multiple applications, we did not want to mix the files for them, so you have easy access for each one of them. And again, going back to what Chair Dudley mentioned, if you were evaluating all of your preventative maintenance documents on one day, it's easier for you to go here than download all the preventative maintenance and then use that for evaluation. Then when you come back for the vehicles, you can then download all the vehicle ones and so on and so forth. But they all should look the same. First, the name of the applicant. Second, the type of application that they are applying for. I'm going to open one just as an example. Let's go with the Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And on the top, you will always see an Excel sheet, which is the application file. So this is the application that you're going to be using to do most of your evaluation. We have some extra documents that they submit as part of the application process. Most of those are reviewed by Meg and City of Phoenix. It's here for your information and for your reference if you want to look over them. For example, the cover letters in here, the service area map, if you want to look at them in more detail, they are all in here, but the file itself is the one that you're going to be looking at. As Didi mentioned, each of their files will have different sections. Let me just go back here. And each one of these sections are the ones that will be available on your rubric for easy access for you to evaluate them. So if you were evaluating and if you're trying to give a score for section number 4 on the rubric that you're looking at, it will also be on section number 4 on each of the applicants' Excel file. So keep that in mind. Let me remove this and go back here. All right, to navigate back, you can either use the back arrow on your browser or also use the links in here to go back to the previous folders, just like you would do on your File Explorer on your computer. It works very similar to that. So as I said, you will have the PXMS and the PWGA separated in different files in different folders, and each folder will have the files like this. When you download this to your computer for you to be able to access and evaluate, keep in mind that we also made the name of the files to make it easier for you if you downloaded a batch of application files for you to be able to know for sure which application you're evaluating. They will all be named the name of the agency, 5310, the year 2024, the type of application, in this case, vehicles, and the region where the application was submitted for. So PWGA in here. And if I go back here, you can see, for example, PXMS in this case. So just keep that in mind if you downloaded multiple folders and multiple files and are not sure which file on your computer you were looking at. This naming convention also helps you to figure out which one you should be looking for. Any questions so far?
As a case, real quick,
Yes.
kind of show, instead of downloading individual files, right? Is there an easier way to just say from that page, can I download the whole folder without having to go in there and download the individual applications?
Yes, good question. You can download the entire folder by just clicking on this a circle that shows up when you hover your mouse over. When you click in there, on the top, it shows the option for you to download this entire folder. So you can do that for the entire folder of the applications, or again, let's say you were doing all preventative maintenance today. You can click in all of the applications that say preventative maintenance. Let's say I clicked in all of them, there are more, just as an example, and then you can also click on download in here as well. So this is another option that you can do to download multiple files at the same time. Lindsay, you have a question?
I did. Thanks, Ezekias. Just because I've had experience accidentally doing this myself, is it possible that we would be able to accidentally delete items, or do we not have that permission set?
Yes, this is something that I have noted. I'm going to note to Mimi when she makes the file available for everybody that you will have access to the folder to view documents, but not to edit documents.
Great.
So you'll be able to view, download, but you will not be able to delete documents.
Good, because I accidentally will delete the document.
Thank you for noting that, and I'll make sure that when we made it available, we make that change on the preferences for your access as a member. Thank you for that. And also in here, the same way that you can do multiple folders of applicants, you can also download both PWGA and PXMS if you want all at once. And you can also just select all of the folders at once in here if you just want to download every single document that we have available to you and click on download. That's also an option that you have. Another folder that we have in here is the service area maps, and I want to thank Jason Howard and his team here at MAG for developing these maps. These are summary maps of those service area maps that we saw that each application will have their own service area maps. We have a compilation of what those service area maps mean for the entire region for all of the applications. So I'm just going to use as an example of what the PXMS capital requests service area maps look like. And it's just a compilation of, based on our region, how many of our providers that applied for service for funding through this year's application process serve each area. So you can see this heat or density map showing the compilation of all of the maps and what areas have more and what areas have less. This again, just for your reference, it can help you understanding more the needs and the gaps in the region and when you're doing your evaluation and filling out the scores for each applicant. So we have that for each one of the regions for capital and operating. And we also have how the locations for each one for all of the applicants overlay with poverty, minority, and older adult population in our region as well. We're gonna open one for your reference so you can see each dot in here is the location of one of those 5310 agency applicants and in relation to the population of older adults 65 years and over in our region by density of this population per census tract. So you can use that also as just a reference to guide you when you're evaluating based on the needs of our region. And then we come to the coordination matrix for 2023 because we looked at the coordination and participation of our applicants for the past year. So from 2023 to the beginning of 2024. This has already been scored by Meg on the areas in the sections of the application where we give the score. But again, it's also here for your reference when you're evaluating the coordination efforts. You can also look at this for your reference for a better understanding of their efforts. All the applicants are in here, and these are their participation on our coordination meetings from June 2023 to our last one, which was just a few weeks ago in February 2024, and also our data request for them to add the information to or update the information on our provider inventory list that we have. And then just a legend of what these numbers mean. when they exceed our suggested participation, when they meet that participation, and when they're below that participation, as you can see in here. And this is also an information that we'll be providing to our applicants so they know how their participation score has been with our program. Didi.
Thank you, Ezekiel. So if we can move back to the coordination participation matrix. As you can see, there are some areas where it's blocked in black. We do, for those new agencies, we do give the opportunity, as the state also does, to give full participation coordination points since they are new agencies coming up. And it has, again, it is a requirement to meet with MAG staff. So MAG and the City of Phoenix staff. So those agencies that are eligible that meet that requirement have met with MAG staff. I do want to note out that you will notice that the City of Goodyear and the City of Avondale are in that not required category, even though they are past applicants way during when this was under the ADA process. They are a new applicant for the Phoenix, for the PWGA. So they are listed under that category as new applicants. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Didi. And we also have our coordination strategies on our Human Services Coordination Transportation Plan are, just for your reference as well as you're reviewing their applications and what they have been doing as coordination strategies. And also we have a list of their past coordination strategies. So for every applicant, what they have submitted on the application on the previous 3 years will be available for you to check and cross-reference with what they are saying this year for you to be able to see the progression of their coordination strategies. So if you see again something in black, it's either because they are a new applicant or because they did not apply that year. So we don't have a data point of what their coordination strategy on the application was for that year. So keep that in mind. These file has 3 different spreadsheets for you to be able to go through. And last and most important, it's the document that you will be submitting to Mimi and Didi with the questions and also the scores on those deadlines that Didi mentioned earlier. I believe it's April 8th for the questions and April 18th for the scores. You can open it directly on the OneDrive, but as pointed out, the Lindsay mentioned the fear of deleting. It's also important that if you make any changes to these Excel spreadsheets while they are in this folder, you're making that change for everybody that will download after you. So if you're gonna make any change to your questions and scores spreadsheet, please download that spreadsheet before and do those changes directly from the folder in your computer, not the folder that is shared with all the committee members. So instead of using this in here, I'm going to share a new screen and open it in my own computer. So this is what should look like or similar to this on your own computer when you download and open it on your Excel software. So this is instructions page that just helps you remember the dates that you have, deadlines to submit if you have any questions to the applicants, and also those scores, those preliminary scores, submission dates are also here. If you have any questions, you can contact Didi and Mimi about it. It just helps you understand that if any of your scoring is wrong, a red box will pop out for you to fix that. As Didi mentioned, that we have the selection criteria and the rubric, we also have it available in this spreadsheet for ease of you review when you were reviewing the applications and putting the scores. So if you just click here, it pops up this page where it shows those scores to make it easier for when you're doing the evaluation of each one of your applications that you were reviewing. So if you're in section 3, you can just use this as your criteria to give the points. This is the same thing that is available on the application handbook that you can also use over there, but this just makes it easier for you to use everything on one file for ease of access of the information. So I'm going back to the instructions page, and all of these pages are in here. These links just make it easier for you to access it. Let's go to the questions spreadsheet. So we have two different questions spreadsheet. They are highlighted in orange in the bottom of your screen. They both should look very similar, just with a different list of applications depending on the region, if it's PXMS or PWGA. A reminder of the date that you will be submitting your questions if you have any, and a list of the applicants' names, the type of application, and any project details that they have. For example, the type of vehicles that that request has. So once you review the applications, if you have any questions, let's say for Aster aging on the preventative maintenance request, you can type your question on this box and move on to the next either application, or if you have another question, type that out in there. Once you fill this out and you have it already, you will submit this spreadsheet to Mimi and Didi. You'll forward this file that you filled out the questions, both for PXMS. You'll see that is a longer list with 40 applications, and also for the PWGA with 7 applications. You will submit your questions after you fill those out to Mimi and Didi via email by April 8th. Once they get all the questions, they will send it to the applicants. Once they get the response, they will consolidate those responses and send it back to all the committee members. So even if you had not asked any question, or if there was a question of something that you didn't catch, you will be able to receive that question answered as well, because all the committee questions will be all sent at once for all the committee members to be able to see. And then finally, the score spreadsheet is where you're going to put your scores based on that rubric that is available to you also in this spreadsheet and in the handbook. So in here, again, you're going to see the same list that you saw for the questions of the applicants, separated again by PXMS and PWGA application regions, and by the application type and project details. So here we have again another reminder of how many points each section is worth. So you can use that also as a guide for when you're putting the points. This is really important because if you put 1 point, that is fine. It's within those 10 points that you'll give, and you will see that that box will turn white. Makes it easier for you to see if you missed any of the scores. So if you fill out for everybody, but you forgot one, you will see a blue cell, a blue box that will stay in there. So you will be reminded that you need to put the score for that one. If you try to put 11, for example, on this 10 points score criteria, it will not let you do it, all right? It will ask you to retry because it needs to be between 0 and 10. So you can cancel and then retry a number again that is between 0 and 10. That is the score that you need to put. So anything that you put in between is fine. If you try to put anything above, it will not let you do it. It will remind you to do it again. So just keeping that in mind. And again, that will apply for each point criteria. So in this case, it will be 25 points, 5 points, and so on and so forth, depending on the section that you were applying. You were submitting your scores. Once you fill all of this out, and again, you will also fill this out, remember one thing. For that deadline of April 18 that you're submitting your scores, the column N, where the interviews points are, will not be filled out. So this is the only column that will stay in blue when you submit your preliminary scores, both for PXMS and for PWGA. The reason is because you have not yet gone through the interview session on April 23rd and 24th. So this will stay in blue, while all the other boxes should be in white, unless you have a conflict of interest. Let's say we had a MAG application in here and I wouldn't submit a score for MAG myself because I work for MAG, so I would leave that one. That one is fine to have the blue boxes since you have that conflict and you will not be filling out the scores for that specific application. So once you have this all filled out, again, on the 18th of April, you will submit it to Mimi and Didi so they can start collecting the preliminary scores. And during the interview, the date of the interview, at the end of all of the interviews, those should all be filled out. The column N for both PWG and PXMS should be filled out and resubmitted to Mimi and Didi for final compilation of the scores to be able to develop that priority listing on the second half of the second day of interviews with the committee. Any questions about how to access and how to fill out the documentation related to the application evaluation?
So Hezekiah's in the scores. So if it's conflict of interest, keep it blank. Don't put zeros in there, correct?
Yes, keep them blank.
Yeah. And also say, for instance, I'm going through there and I've put in a score for experienced staff performance measures, and I tab over and, go to the right there and I hit 8. Can I change that number? What happens if I accidentally change that
You
number?
can
Or am I
try, but
locked
this
out?
will pop out.
There we go.
It does not let you do any changes either here or anywhere else. So even if by mistake you say you were here and you wanted to give a 10 point, but then you type in here, you see how another error shows up. It will not let you make any changes other than in the blue areas that you will be giving your scores.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Is that it on your side, Hezekiah?
Yes, thank you, Chair and members of the committee. That concludes my presentation on the materials for the evaluation of the Section 5310 application.
Okay, back to you, Didi.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. That concludes our presentation. We are open for any questions. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Mimi, and we will guide you through it. I just wanted to know that Ezekias has done such a great job with updating all of this spreadsheets and matrices for us. We hope to continue that. I'm so sad to see him leave, and I would like to say all these fail safes measures that he put into the spreadsheet are greatly appreciated. So again, thank you. Again, as Ezekias noted that the points for the interviews will not be will be blue until we do that. During the evaluation, the 2-day evaluation process, we will move forward. We will gather those points for the interviews, and we will put those into the spreadsheet, into the final scoring sheet. I also want to remind you, at that point on the 2-day interview with the applicants, there is a opportunity which some members have taken to revise your scoring. We definitely want to give you all opportunities to ask any questions to get clarification on your scores. So that does conclude. And again, thank you for everybody's patience, for your time, for your expertise for this evaluation process. And as always, we do offer a debriefing after each review process, just to ensure that we are moving forward and making this a little easier for you. We understand you have other jobs that you have to have to do, and that you are actually including other jobs that you have to do, and this is just a part of your volunteer time. So Tom.
Yes, thank you, Dee Dee. Just a quick, I guess it's more of a comment and then a question. Hezekiah's great job on this. I've been through it a couple years now, and it looks like the cleanest. As I have communicated, we're in the process of changing representation. So our new ATS manager, Justin Sheldon, will actually be doing the evaluations if we make sure we get it there. I'm going to do the best of repeating everything you just said to him, but if I can't cover it, I'll have him connect with questions.
Thank you, Tom. And whenever we do receive a new member on our committee, we always make an appointment and we just sit down and have an orientation for that person. And we will definitely provide some time to review this whole process with them too and see if he has any questions. But we will definitely reach out to him and have an orientation with them. Thank
And
you.
Tom, this meeting is also being streamed on YouTube, so it will always be available there. He can always go back to the recording and look at the explanation I just gave as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any questions? All right, Dee Dee. So next steps, we'll be getting that link when?
As a kiss.
The link will be sent out today. I will work with Mimi to get all of your access set up today, so you will have the email from OneDrive by the end of the day.
Okay, so we'll get the link today. Then everybody should go in there and fill out those COI, those conflict of interest forms, and send those over to Dee Dee or Mimi. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion on this item? This is just for information. So, all right. Hearing none, we are going to move to item number 8. Are there any other requested topics or issues of interest to consider for future agendas? And remember, everyone, topics and issues can only be requested for future agendas, but not discussed. All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to number 9, comments from the committee. Information only. Does anyone have an announcement they would like to make? Yeah.
Other than the announcement that was already made about my leaving, I just want to thank everybody in the committee, every single one of the committee members, for the time we spent together. Some of you have been here since my day one. Some of you have just joined our committee, but I really appreciate it. I really appreciate every single one of you and all the time that I was able to spend with you. And I look forward to still working with you at different capacities. As Dee Dee and Nancy mentioned, I will be still working on transit and transportation in our region. So I look forward to other ways of collaborating with everybody in the committee. So thank you, everybody.
We really appreciate all the hard work as a KISS. I was here since day one, and I definitely could tell you're going to be a shining star. So, City of Chandler is very lucky to have you, and you have a good team over there in Chandler who will definitely help you out. So, great move by Chandler and great move by you. So, I really do appreciate all the hard work that you've done over the years for us. You've really kind of moved our stuff up to that next level.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Nancy, City of Chandler. The only thing that I have to say is sorry, but not sorry. So we are excited.
Just wait, Nancy. Let me guess. He's going to be on the evaluation committee next year, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
All right. Any other comments from the committee? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to adjournment. But before we adjourn, I'd like to remind everyone the next meeting will be that 2-day applicant interview and development of the priority listing. So that'll be on April 23rd and 24th. Make sure you forward your confidentiality forms to Dee Dee before you review. No outside discussion of the applications and all that fun stuff. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email Dee Dee on anything like that. And then once again, I want to thank everybody for all your time in reviewing the applications for this program. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a fantastic day.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Hezekiah, this is Nina. I missed the first part of the meeting. Where are you going?
The city of Chandler.
Oh, well, congratulations to you.
Thank you so
You will
much.
be missed.
Thank you.
Okay. I hope all is well.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When's your first day, Hezekiah?
It's on Monday.
Oh, Monday. So
Yes.
you working through Friday, or you
Yes, I'm working through Friday and I'm working on Monday already. So
no break for you then.
no break for me.
All right, everyone.
Thank you,
Hezekiah, it's good
everybody.
to see you. Hey, if you need anything over there, you have any questions, man, feel free to reach out. But you're in good hands with Nancy and Jason over there.
Thank you so much, Matt.
All right. See you guys later.
Thank